You continue to be getting kind of more and more encouraging play defensively, but tonight seemed like a pretty emphatic performance on that end. What did you like best about it?
Just the level of execution and focus and competitiveness. I thought the guys, really did a good job of carrying over the lessons from last game. We knew they were going to be better, and I thought they were, and I thought we were better too. And that's what you do if you're a good team, turning around and playing the same opponent for the second time in 3 nights.
I wanted to ask you about a couple hustle plays. Poku dives on the floor,
big time play.
Leads to the Dort dunk, and then Josh, the box out on Nurkic late. Just your take on those two guys doing their thing.
Yeah, and Josh got an offensive rebound late that was big and ended up being a jump ball. But, I thought, 1 through, however many guys went in there, night 11, played really hard. And you just need those plays. The other team's really trying, you're really trying, and oftentimes the ball's like 50-50 on the floor or in the air. And you got to have them. You can do all these schemes and all this fancy stuff, but sometimes it just comes down to needing the ball more than the opponent. And I thought on those plays in particular, we did a great job.
You held Lillard and Simons to 10 of 30. I talked to Dave Bliss at halftime. He said just about kind of finding the balance of being into those guys but not compromising the back end. How impressed are you for the youngest team in the league to find that balance tonight?
Yeah, I thought our execution of that was really good. We didn't switch nearly as much tonight as we did the other night. And in the first quarter, we were a little antsy and high, and that's how they were getting the pocket passes and the layups on those cuts. And then we did. We found a really good equilibrium there. And, the pursuits by Lou and Wiggins and Cambridge Williams and Jalen and Shai, the guys that guarded the 2 main guys for them, that's the key because it releases the big out. And so it's a 5-man defense. We were a 5-man defense tonight. I was very impressed with the execution.
Coach Muscala played 20 minutes tonight. What did you see from him in general and also defensively on that matchup with Nurkic?
Yeah, I mean, they, late in the first half, we went back to him and they subbed Nurkic out. And I thought that was a little bit of a tell, in terms of that they didn't think that was favorable. So we started him out at halftime for that reason, and it really loosened up our offense. And then just decided to match him down the stretch because they were posting the ball to him so much, and he's a load. And so Mike did a great job. I thought the team did a great job of adapting. There were timeouts there where I told Poku, if Eubanks is in, you're in. If, Nurkic is in, Mike's in. And their ability to just kind of like roll with those punches was impressive. I give our team a lot of credit.
Mark, you've talked a lot about how valuable having a guy like Lou is defensively. Just what'd you see there on that last possession and forcing that really tough look from Lillard?
Yeah, whole game. The guy's just a monster defensively. Lillard's a monster offensively. He's such a good player. And I thought, it's just another like vintage game. We start to get used to them, but he's had probably 5 of these already this year where he's played against a top-notch opponent. And just done his thing, and he did it again tonight. And, he's got a long way to go, just like everybody else, especially offensively, and a lot's been made of that. But, when the fight breaks out, he's there for the fight, and he was there for the fight tonight.
You talked about your defense tonight, but over the last handful of games, you all are kind of back to that top 10 defense hemisphere. What do you attribute that to?
We just are trying to get better with every experience, both ends of the floor. And there's a lot of ebbs and flows to the season. There's times where you're in kind of a rhythm on offense, and there's times where you got to grind it out, like tonight. There's times where defensively it seems to be moving slowly for the team, and there's a high level of competitiveness, and there's times where you got to kind of endure. But, every game delivers lessons that we need to learn, and if you improve, through every game and every day, which we aspire to do, we got to just trust the outcomes of that. So anything, like that, is a byproduct of just continuous improvement and growth.
Yeah, trusting J-Dub more and more in these clutch moments. He basically hits the game-winning shot to put you guys up 1. He's playing great defense, and earlier this year, or a couple weeks ago, he said he doesn't see himself as a rookie. Do you get that feel the same thing about him?
Yeah, he's just a really quick study. He's got a great ability to, learn the lessons and grow through experiences. And when you've got a guy that's got the talent he does, the size, the two-end ability, his ability to play offense and defense, the ability to create and play off the ball, there's just a lot there. And then you add to the fact that, he's learning quickly through every experience. It incentivizes you to give him more experiences, because the more experiences he piles up, the more he's going to learn and the faster he'll grow. And so it's a worthwhile investment. And obviously he delivered big time tonight, but if he didn't, he'd learn the lessons and he'd still get better from it. And that's what gives us so much confidence in him.
Mark, in the first half, Isaiah didn't take a shot, but in the second half, he came out firing, went 2 for 2 from 3 to start out. Do you think teams are adjusting to the way that you guys use him schematically, or is anything else going on?
It's one night, and I think he and Lindy and Muscala, the thing I respect about those guys is they're lasers as shooters, but they make the right plays, so he's not going to go jack shots, just because he's in the game. He's going to play the game, and they do that on both ends, like I've mentioned multiple times. And I thought, the times we went to those units, in the first quarter and then earlier in the third, it's really given us good offense, and the threat of those guys shooting gives us good offense, and the fact that they're willing to move the ball the way they are gives us good offense, and that was the case in all of his minutes tonight, even though he didn't get a lot of looks.
And then how did you feel about Josh tonight? I know that he was out the last game with an illness. What did you think? He
played more than I thought he was going to be able to play, just based on his conditioning and based on how beaten up he was with the illness. So I was impressed by how he played. I thought he had a good jolt and was able to sustain long minutes or longer stretches than, like I said, I anticipated. So certainly glad to have those guys back.
You've talked all season about continuing to learn from these experiences. What was it like to see that come out in the execution tonight?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I think you guys can see it just as well as we can. That we're getting better each time we're in these late game scenarios. I think the more of them that we're in, the better we're going to get, and it's really starting to show now. I think, this time last year, I think we're a bit different down the stretch. We don't execute as well. We're a bit inexperienced, but because we played in so many of these tight games, we're learning how to execute both ends of the floor. Helps having a guy like Dort who can guard, just about anyone in the league. So when we're locked in on both ends of the floor down the stretch, we're a tough team to stop, especially with Shai. He draws so much attention, and he gets off the ball. We're playing, 4-on-3. So we've been really good lately down the stretch.
Tell me about your rebounding late. You had some one-on-one matchups against Nurkic.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to get in there. I think, when we went smaller and when, Poke was on Nurkic, he's a big body. So we had to get in there and help him out. And especially down the stretch, when every possession's crucial, had to get, that offensive rebound off my miss. I saw Lou and Simons down there, so I had to get in there. And then down the stretch, I knew if we got that board, it was going to seal the game. Lou forced Dame into a really tough shot, and then I saw it coming off. I don't even know if it hit the rim, but was able to get there. But just helping Poke out, as I said, down the stretch, it's really crucial.
And just how are you feeling tonight? And I guess what did it mean to be able to give the effort that you gave in your first game back, especially with all your teammates too?
Yeah, it was great. Great to be back. It's always hard when you have to sit out and watch games, especially from home, in bed. So it was great out there. Obviously, the guys, we just played Portland, so I got to sit there and watch it and kind of see a little bit what they do. But, the guys just played against them. So we're familiar with them coming in. We executed the game plan and got the job done.
Josh, it seemed like you were doing a lot better job communicating defensively in this game. Is that something that you're getting more and more comfortable with?
Yeah, it is, definitely. I mean, a lot of the time, it's going to be, Lou, J-Dub with those tough assignments. So it's up to me and the other guys to kind of help them. And we can do that. One way to do that is with that voice. And I think it's being on the, if we're on the weak side, just communicating, and it makes the whole defense function better. If everyone's talking, we're all on the same page. So it really helps. And I've tried to put an emphasis on that. A lot of the time I'm not going to be guarding the best player out there. So being impactful by, using my voice and helping those guys out.
Josh, Mark said you were pretty sick and wasn't sure that you were going to play as much as you did tonight. Just how did you feel out there, and did you kind of surprise yourself with how well you played after missing a couple games?
Yeah, I felt good out there tonight. I thought I was going to be a bit short-winded. I hadn't touched the basketball in a few days, so but I felt great. As soon as the ball went up, it was game time and I was ready to go. But it's good to get the first one out the way, and we got another tough game on Friday night against the Pelicans.
And then just to follow up on Lou's stop there at the end, I mean, we've seen him, play like this before and almost take it for granted. Just like, what does it mean to have a teammate who's that level of defender?
Yeah, regardless of how the game's going for Lou, he knows, and we know that we can rely on him on that end, every night. And we do take it for granted. I think he wins us a lot of games on that end of the floor with the job he does on. Dame had 16 on a tough shooting night, and you give a lot of credit to Lou for that. So he makes big plays. You see the ones down the stretch that win us the game, but it's all throughout 48 minutes. The plays he makes, both sides of the floor. He's been great for us, and the better the more he continues to do that, the better we're going to be as a team.
Josh, Mark mentioned that you lost weight while you were sick. Could you just elaborate on that?
Too much weight. Yeah, I lost about 10 pounds in a few days. So I could kind of feel it out there a little bit, but just got to quickly put that back on.
Yeah, you guys are trusting J-Dub more and more in these clutch situations, and earlier this season said he doesn't feel like a rookie. Do you get that same feeling just being around him?
Oh, definitely. He's a mature guy. We knew it coming in, and I think from day one you could tell he was confident. He carried himself with a certain swagger that guys respect, and you knew from day one that we kind of knew. I don't know if we, but I knew that he was going to play. You could just tell he had that about him when he first came in the building. And he's been great. Similar to Lou, he does it on both sides of the floor. He usually gets tasked with that, secondary. Simons tonight, it was Grant, whoever, but can guard multiple positions, play multiple positions on the other end of the floor. Had the game-winning dunk for us tonight. So makes big plays, been making them all year, and I think his confidence is going to continue to grow, as the season progresses.
And then the MVP chants for Shai are getting louder and louder. He said earlier this season that it was cool, it felt like a video game. Is it cool for you guys too? Because with how close you guys are.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the great part about our team is we all want to see the guy, to our left and our right succeed. And with the year he's having, he deserves all the praise he's getting. He's a really humble guy, so he's never going to, tell you guys about that. But he deserves everything he's getting, and it's coming his way. And, super happy to see him play the way he is.
Yeah, Lou, you defended Dame extremely well, held him to an inefficient night for him. And just, how tough is that? He's one of the best players in the NBA, and we've seen you guard the best players in the NBA. Just talk about just the toughness that it takes to defend that guy, especially after knowing that he was probably going to try to come in and try to give you guys a hard time.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. It's not easy. He's a great player, and I feel like it was another challenge, honestly. And we won the last game down to the wire, and I kind of knew he was going to come out a little more aggressive. And I feel like it wasn't just me; it was my whole teammates, and I feel like we just did a good job, just being there and trusting each other.
And then you guys are trusting J-Dub more and more in these clutch situations. And earlier this season, he said he doesn't feel like a rookie. Do you get that same feeling being around him?
Yeah, he makes a lot of good decisions with the ball. That's one. And he's a real efficient player. So we trust him in that. And to have the ball towards the end of the game, and also defensively, he's stepping up and making some big progress too, just getting some stops. So that's how we want him to play.
And then the MVP chants for Shai are getting louder and louder. And you talked about just how close you guys are. Is that cool for you to see with everything he's doing on the floor?
Of course, yeah. He deserved that. Everybody see what he's doing. He's doing his thing, and he deserves to have those type of chants. And he's our leader and our best player. And then he's just growing.
Lou, there was a specific play on a transition three that the Blazers tried to set up, and Dame tried to get you to fly by him, but you kind of stayed planted. Was that just instincts or film or all the above? How did you make that play?
What play was it?
So it was in the third quarter, and they set up a transition where Dame caught the ball kind of in the slot for a three, and you didn't overrun it. You kind of stayed right there.
I was just trying to stay in front of him. He got me a couple times. Well, he got me last game, and I think he got shade this game. So I just had to stay locked in and really just stay in front of him. And if he shoots it, I just got to contest it, honestly.
Lou, in your career, you've already had a few game-winning shots. You've had some game-winning defensive stops. Do you prefer either side of it, or does it really matter as long as you get the win?
As long as I get the win, but I like both. Yeah.
And then on the other side, you didn't get matched up with him a lot, but just wanted to ask you about another Canadian guy in Shaedon Sharpe. What do you think of him in the past two games you played against him?
A lot of talents. I heard about him a lot, and I kind of follow him doing his pre-draft stuff. But a good talent, real athletic. He can shoot it too, And yeah, he's a good player. You know, he's going to be in the league for a good time.
Lou, can you take us through just that last possession against Dame and sort of what you were seeing and telling yourself as you were trying to stop him?
Just really just getting to stop. I mean, I kind of knew he was going to take the last shot, and you know, I just knowing Damian Lillard from the past, he's known for making big shots, you know, in the fourth quarter. So I was just locked in and trying to make the stop, and that's what I did.
And then you guys had a couple hustle plays down the stretch when it looked like it was going to be a shot clock violation. Poku dives on the floor, gets it to Kenrich, finds you for the dunk. What did that play kind of do for you all?
It brought a lot of momentum. I mean, that's some type of stuff that we talk in our locker room, and when we watch film or whatever, we just need some effort plays like that just bring the teams up. And it was big from Poku, you know, just getting on the floor.
Nick Gallo, Bally Sports. Just want to get your take on that final defensive stand. Lou forcing Dame into another miss and a rough shooting night overall.
Yeah, Lou is Lou. He brings that every night. That's what he hangs his hat on. That's what we need from him. He delivered for sure.
Monday's game was a little bit more of a shootout, high tempo. Tonight was more of like a grind out game. What did you think about the way you guys, youngest team in the league, were able to handle both of those situations?
Yeah, I think we executed really well late, especially both in those games. First one was a little bit more up and down. This one was more controlled, like you said. But we stuck to our principles throughout both of them.
And then tallest guy on the floor, Poku, is diving on the floor for a loose ball, ends up in a Lou dunk. Just I don't know, your take on that sequence. And it seemed like there were so many of those types of plays tonight from your group.
Yeah, we know to win games and stuff like that, we have to win 50-50 balls. We got to box out. We got to do all the little things. And Poku was just an example on that possession. But we all need that for 48 minutes to win games.
You guys are trusting J-Dub more and more in these clutch situations. And earlier this season, he talked about how he doesn't see himself as a rookie. Do you get that same feeling being around him?
Yeah, he's mature. He works hard. And he just takes it day by day and has fun with the process. And I think as long as he keeps that mentality, he'll keep getting better. And he'll be impressive for sure.
The MVP chants for you are getting louder and louder. And earlier this season, you talked about it feeling like a video game. Does it ever become surreal that you're getting those loud MVP chants?
I will say I'm getting more used to them as they continue. But it's always fun and always a moment you soak up and you appreciate for sure.
Shai, you get a lot of the highlight plays, you get the 30-point games, but a guy who doesn't get as many of those is Kenrich Williams. Can you just talk about his importance to this team and what he means to you guys?
Yeah, Kenrich does all the little things. He scores when he needs to. He guards the team's best player a lot of the times. He's one of the older guys on the team, a vocal leader. He's just a great guy to be around. He does so many things for us on and off the court, and I think he knows that. He embraces that leadership role, and he's great for us.
And then you've already been on 2 different playoff teams. You're now the vet on a team full of young guys. How do you think the guys are progressing in terms of just learning how to win basketball games?
I think especially in the past 2 nights, we've for sure gotten better. And that's our goal, is to get better at certain areas throughout the season. And then we'll be a better team at the end of the season than we were to start.
Speaking of the playoff, Shai, Mark's talked about how these are kind of like mini playoff series for a young team. Well, what have you seen in terms of how hard it is to get 2 straight wins against the same team and kind of adjust to their counter punches?
I've been in a few series myself, so I know what that's like. But it's a challenge for sure. Like I said, I think we responded well tonight. Ups and downs. We were up, they were down, vice versa. I think we were disciplined and we stuck to our game plan for both games.
Shai, All-Star voting opened yesterday. I know it's not in the forefront of your guys' mind, but what would it mean to you to be selected for your first All-Star game this season?
Yeah, it would be an honor. Something that I know I dream about, but if not, every kid in the world dreams about playing basketball. It would be honor. It would be fun for sure.
Anybody else? Thanks, Shay.
Alrighty. You're welcome.